I was watching Annie's last video. Annie's Adventures is her YouTube channel, but she was talking about trying to avoid some Jehovah Witnesses. Now these guys have avoid me. Now are they a cult? I think they are. I think a number of the religions have their could be considered cults. But the trick is to when they throw the Bible in your face, they throw it right back at them. Know the Bible well enough that you can handle parts of the Bible that don't make any sense. Ask them to explain the events of Genesis chapter 6. Where the space aliens come down and have sex with. It's in there. Open up your Bible. Go to Genesis chapter 6 and read it. It's in there. But these angels or space aliens, whatever you want to call them, have sex with human females, and their babies turn out to be giants and kind of ruin things. And then God has to flood the earth and kill everybody except for Noah and his family and everybody that rode that ark. But read it. It's a good read. But I know the Bible well enough that you can hand it right back to them. And like I said, these guys won't talk to me. They avoid me. They won't talk to me because they. But anyway, if I was with somebody that Jesus was important to them, I'd let them know that I pray to Jesus prayer. I don't, but I'll get to my take on Jesus in a second here. But if I was with somebody I knew that was important to him, I would include him in my life. But now in Jesus, if you look at the Old Testament, now there's a lot of sacrifice of the innocent for the guilty. They do animal sacrifices and that type of thing. And let me get to Cain and Abel for a second here. But Abel, practiced animal sacrifice. Now, like I said, it's in the Bible. Read it. But in the very beginning of the, Cain and Abel were sons of Adam and Eve. But Abel, practiced animal sacrifice, and God loved it. And Cain was a farmer. He had sacrificed crops and stuff, and God didn't like it. So that's why Cain killed Abel. Then God sent Cain to the land of Canaan. But that's never made any sense to me. I don't know why he would. Why couldn't Cain just kill pure innocent little animals and where God would like it? But that didn't make any sense. But then God banished Cain to the land of Canaan, and who was Cain's wife? We're all children of Cain and Abel. I mean, if you follow the Bible, we're all children of Cain and Abel. Did Cain marry his sister? That's been a debate with the church for a long time. I said, don't take my word for it. Open up your Bible and read it. Don't be afraid to dig in there. Unless you're Catholic, where they tell you the priests tell people they're too stupid to understand it. But I'm going to piss off a few. I don't mean to piss off anybody. I just say open up your Bible and read it, and try to make sense of it. But you got these groups like the Jehovah Witnesses coming and throwing your face. Throw it right back to them. See, on Jesus, I think the Old Testament is full of sacrifice of the innocent for the guilty. That's what Jesus was. Jesus was sacrifice of the innocent for the guilty. That's my take on Jesus. Now, he certainly gave some pretty profound words to live by, and I think most of us try to be, God-like or Jesus-like. I think that's what we aspire to. But like I said, I have my own beliefs. I believe in God. I believe we have a soul and an afterlife. I don't know where I was going with this, but let's see. There's one Jehovah Witness. They get this Watchtower. That's their magazine they put out. But she was telling me, about Armageddon. The origins of the word Armageddon, and what it refers to is a little Tar Megiddo. It's the valley of Megiddo. That's what Armageddon is. It comes from that. But in the Bible, there's a number of major battles that have been fought, in Megiddo, in that little valley. And Armageddon refers to a battle being fought there. That's what it refers to. So, a lot of people talk about Armageddon and don't really understand it. But this lady was talking to me, and I said, "Well, I know the origin of the word." And she took off. She just had the Watchtower, and she took off. And I was reading in the Watchtower. That's exactly what it was saying. It's saying that the word Armageddon is for Har Megiddo. But I thought that was interesting. Now, Little Watchtower is actually pretty, some of the stories are pretty interesting. I'm not saying I believe everything in there, but I'm saying that is a interesting work. The Mormons, I like the Mormons. The Mormons are cool. I don't know if I'd ever join any major belief system, but, because they have their good and their bad points. they all have their good and their bad points. I think if we could, like I said, anybody out there is certainly free to think as I do. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying, if you want to call yourself spiritual, that we have a spirit, we have a soul. I know and believe in God and stuff, but not be a part of the belief systems that have their doctrines that don't always make sense. That's one of the major problems I've got with major belief systems. But yeah, I'm not trying to piss anybody off. I'm just saying what I believe, and what you believe is up to you. But Annie, hey, engage those Jehovah's Witnesses in conversation. There can be some interesting people, but yeah, like I said, there is some brainwashing going on there. I think all religions do that to some extent. Okay, love y'all. Bye bye.